Are you ready for the best Kansas City Chiefs insight? Welcome to ChiefsBlitz.com YouTube podcast with your hosts, Nick Athan, Andre Tillman, and producer Hense Todd. They'll break down the three-time Super Bowl champions as only they can do. Here's your host, Nick Athan.
Welcome back to the latest edition of Chiefs Blitz, presented on YouTube. Please like our page. I think we're doing a great job with the show. Website, ChiefsBlitz.com. Today, Chiefs Broncos, and with me, Lou Montagna, Senor Lou, Hense Todd, producer extraordinaire, also joining us on the show. Our other guy had a little off the field issue he had to deal with today, so Mr. Tillman, Coach Dre will not be with us today, but we will do our best to forge on without his usual band of negativity and anti-Chief stuff that makes the show spin out of control sometimes. All good. Hey, guys, how are you?
Doing well. I may take on the role of devil's advocate, if you would, for the Broncos today. So we'll have to take up the slack. I won't do nearly as good a job as Coach Dre, but I'll do my best.
All right. Sounds good. Before we start the show, I want to give a shout out to our new sponsor, Supreme Lending. And Dave Purdy, who I've known a very long time. We used to do mortgages together back in the glory days of lending. And ran into him at the Chiefs-Browns game, and we've been talking a lot. We met a few times. He even came down to visit me a couple of days ago, and he's going to be our new sponsor. Dave obviously does mortgages. I know it's crazy right now, but if you need someone to navigate you through the process, you can reach Dave. I'm putting my glasses on, Dave, so I don't mess this up. You can reach him at 816-405-5831. He is with Supreme Lending. We'll have some ads. Can even have Dave on the show in the near future. He also does security for the Chiefs, which is pretty fascinating. And he's just a really good guy. And it's a crazy industry. If you need someone that can navigate you through the waters, he can help you out, get you pre-approved, kind of let you know where your status is, because there's a lot of inventory out there. And if you're looking to buy a house, this is your guy. We got another sponsor who we're going to announce next week. So we're excited about that. We're kind of moving things forward. And we're excited to have Dave on. So, Dave, thank you very much for your commitment, and we look forward to working with you. And
we appreciate you, Dave. Appreciate you, Dave. Thanks for the support.
Okay, now that my glasses are off, I'm blind as a bat again. So here we go. The Kansas City Chiefs will host the dysfunctional Denver Broncos Thursday night at Arrowhead. Prime Video. So, of all you non-Prime members, hey, you know what? You can always do a 7-day free trial, I think, and be able to watch the game. Locally in the Kansas City television area, it'd be Channel 41, KSHB TV. So look out for it there. I'm attending the game. I'm really excited about that. I'm going to the game with my sister, kind of divulging a little of my personal life here. My sister and I have never been to a Chiefs game together at Arrowhead. We went to games at Municipal Stadium as kids, but this is our very first. So I'm excited to share this experience with my sister, who is a huge Chiefs fan. She lives in Seattle country, so the Seahawks fall a number 2, at least for this weekend. So I'm impressed that I'm really excited about it. But listen, crazy doings in Denver right now. But this is a game the Chiefs should win. Nick Bolton will be back. It looks like Travis Kelce's probably going to play, and it looks like these guys are fired up and they're motivated to get better. And, the comments this week from Coach Reed and Patrick Mahomes and some of the players is, hey, we can play better. But my favorite thing, and we'll talk about the defense in a minute, was Spags calling out Chris Jones and saying, hey, it's okay to have more than one sack a game, which I thought really kind of set the tone like, hey, it's a contract year, guy. Come on. Put some better numbers up. Put some more numbers up. Get some more sacks. But, your guys' overall thoughts on the game itself coming up on Thursday night?
Well, first off, Hense, I'm not seeing you. I don't know. Maybe that's just a behind the scenes technical issue on my end, but I just don't see you right now. So as far as the game is concerned, I mean, it's really easy to look at this and say, oh, the Chiefs are in a walk. I mean, they're 10.5-point favorites. The Broncos are in disarray. But again, I guess taking on the role of Coach Dre, last year's games were not easy in it by any stretch. I mean, there was a 3-point game and a 6-point game. Now it looks like maybe they were blowouts. Patrick, I guess what used to be Mile High, I don't know what it's called now, but makes the no-look pass to McKinnon, and it just looked like, oh, that game, the Chiefs must have crushed them. But again, it was a one-score game. Russ is playing better statistically. I know statistics can be liars, but he is I think, top 5 in passer rating. He's only thrown 2 interceptions, 11 touchdowns, whatever. And we can go through all the different statistics, but I think this game may be a little bit closer. And again, with the short week, you just never know. Sean Payton did not forget how to coach. They've got weapons.
That's what it looks like.
Their defense is not good. They are not stopping the run. I think a lot of that had to do with maybe the 1,000 yards they gave up to the Dolphins. But no, I'm looking for a tough game. We have, the Chiefs have to be on point. The receivers have to, again, continue to grow. So that mantra, we'll keep beating that drum until they get it figured out and what the rotation is going to be moving forward. But I would, pump the brakes a little bit on this. Is just going to be a blowout.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a blowout. Go ahead, Hense.
I think it I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. I think it's gonna be a massacre. I think it's gonna be a massacre.
There it is.
I don't think it's gonna be a blowout, but I think the Chiefs gonna go out here and handle business. The defense is out there playing lights out. The offense is looking a little bit better. They look like, again, the receivers, like not to beat a dead horse, but they are coming around. But again, I feel like this is going to be a massacre on the Chiefs end. The Chiefs are going to come out here and dominate what they should. But again, like I tell everybody, don't get your hopes up and don't look frightened, because the Broncos probably play the Chiefs hard, because everybody? The Chiefs are the champions. So the Chiefs are going to get played hard. And everybody, a lot of take I'm hearing around on Twitter and around the NFL is they are finding where are we at in the Chiefs history now that the Chiefs are getting the penalties and everybody is going haywire, because we are the Patriots right now. We are Patrick Mahomes or it's Tom Brady right now. So everybody feel like we deflate gate, we cheating, we paying the refs. We in that area now. So maybe some calls going to look confusing on Thursday, tomorrow. But again, we are not paying the refs. We just the champions, and that's how the champions roll. What you got to say, Lou?
Well, I think I responded to one of Nick's tweets or retweets or whatever. In what universe would the other owners be okay with this, right? Yeah. Or the referees just going rogue and saying, "Well, yeah, we're going to favor the Chiefs." So I'm not going to really, I don't even think that we need to address that. That's kind of preposterous. So I don't know. As far as that goes, that's just people. Haters going to hate.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the thing, though. I mean, we are becoming the New England Patriots, but generally speaking, Patrick Mahomes is liked. He's liked as a person. He's liked as a competitor.
Right.
He's respected. Tom Brady, everybody just hated, and they hated Bill Belichick just because those two were their egos were very large, and Patrick doesn't have an ego. Now, that doesn't mean he's not competitive, but he's not going to come out there and do some of the things that those guys did or said, and you're certainly not going to see Andy Reid, who happens to be one of Bill Belichick's closest friends and vice versa. You're not going to see that kind of situation evolving in Kansas City should they win more Super Bowls and become the next great dynasty. I still think they need one more to become that. But, as the hunted, that's one thing. But it's not like, the commentary. I got into it with a Jets guy this morning on Twitter, and it's just like the bottom line is this.
Right.
The NFL referees have a contract with the NFL owners that does not allow the NFL to hire anybody, does not allow them to discipline mistakes, does not even allow them to force retirement from some of these older guys who are running on the field trying to, catch up with these Cheetahs and Clydesdales. And you've got these guys who are out of shape, out of position, not all of them, just some. And until they bring some athleticism to the officiating, they make these guys full-time and they sit in a room and say, okay, this is holding. This is pass interference. This is that. And they all agree, okay, this is how we're going to do it uniformly, instead of getting on a conference call and having the head of the union say this. I mean, they went in week 2 and they changed the rules because somebody went on air on opening night, Chris Collinsworth, and look what happened. Week 2, 3, and 4, Taylor, it just wasn't fair what they did to him. Right. And last week, there are no penalties on him. He had a great game, one of his best games as a Chief. So clearly he wasn't doing a lot of these things wrong. They just kind of moved on. They made their point, even though other teams did the same thing. So the bottom line is this. You can cry about the officiating all you want, but if you're crying about the officiating the day after game, that means your team isn't good. It means they didn't have the players and the horses to win the game. And the Chiefs are the 3rd most penalized team in the NFL, and they're 4-1. And I could list a series of bad calls in every single game that would have made 2 of the Chiefs wins blowouts, and they wouldn't have lost the game against the Lions. So at the end of the day, your team has to play better. And if there's a marginal call, then maybe you shouldn't be in a marginal position to win at that point in the game.
And speaking of your team going to play better, we got an update on Nick Bolton. Nick Bolton's returning for the Thursday night game. What you think about that, Lou?
Well, I think we've talked about this over the weeks, of just what a great job Drew Tranquil did as the green dot. Now, he was never going to replace Nick in his position. Nick's a great player. So obviously, whenever you get a great player back, it just makes you even deeper. So, Tranquil could be deployed in other ways. The Denver Broncos throw a lot to their tight ends, so you're going to need more coverage on those guys. So that's be a spot for Drew, and Nick will be helping in the run game and everything else that he does, and kind of being the traffic cop out there on defense. So yeah, it's nothing but good news.
Yeah, and I like this. I mean, he's also going to be kind of a shadow and spy to Russell Wilson, which I think is important. And this allows Drew to kind of play. He can play all 3 line. Drew Tranquil can play all 3 positions. This doesn't mean that he has to get all the reps either. So definitely, this is a good situation for the Chiefs to be in when it comes to getting Nick Bolton on the field, because they don't have to run him out there every snap because of the way Drew Tranquil is played. Now, Drew has a sore knee, but he's practiced, so he should be good to go.
I'm noticing our 4th member has arrived. Most important question: any cavities?
Not yet. Not yet.
Oh, there he is. Look at that.
Good.
Wow. 16 minutes late. That is $1,600 fine.
That's
for not letting me know you were going to be late.
I did, but I pushed by 85 going down the street. I'm going down 135, but I'm here. So
all right, sounds good. Well, we're glad to have you. We've antagonized you a little bit.
Explain to the people what happened, Mr. Dennis, man.
Teeth. You're supposed to have healthy teeth.
But again, Nick Bolton,
as he's chewing his Hubba Bubba sugar-filled gum. Come on, man. Your dentist is listening and watching.
Yeah, none of that bazooka stuff. That's bad for your teeth.
Hey, it's fat free.
Sure is. Yeah.
Whatever.
Nah, but I'm here, guys. But I'm listening to what y'all was saying about the Denver Broncos, man. Again, I think Russell Wilson is going to do well. I think
here we go. You just got on the show and you're already starting. No, I don't. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't disagree with you. I think he's playing better this year.
Yeah.
The problem is he's holding on the ball too long. He's kind of afraid to make certain throws and certain plays.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the offensive line woes as much as people are stating. He's just not making quicker decisions. I doubt that's something he's going to correct in, basically 2 days of practice, travel day, and playing Thursday night in Kansas City. But he did play well outside of the first quarter and a half on the road when the Chiefs, had that big lead and Patrick had the turnovers. And then in Kansas City, there was a questionable pass interference call, offensive, that kind of stalled out a drive where the Broncos were kind of on the verge of maybe taking control of the game and maybe putting up the winning touchdown because they were rolling at that point offensively. So, he can certainly do it. And I think this is a big game for Denver for that reason, because Sean Payton is going to want control of this football team. He'll probably want George Payton out as the GM. He probably want to bring his own guy in. They're probably going to have a fire sale if they're 1-5 and already basically out of the AFC West. I think they'd be 0-2. I don't think they played the Chargers yet. And then they play the Chiefs 2 weeks later. That's going to be really difficult. But I would not put past Russell Wilson having a really good game either.
I think, Nick, you said the same thing.
Russ is concerned, I'm sorry, but you guys, from what you guys have seen, I want to get your feedback because, and just kind of watching some of the games, do you feel he's moving the way you kind of remember? I mean, obviously he's a little bit older, but it doesn't look like he's moving as well as he used to. Like on that play at the end of the game where the Jets pretty much sealed it, and he's kind of holding the ball, to Nick's point, but then it's outside, and it's almost like he thinks he's going to, and Quincy Williams just comes and like knocks the ball out, scoop and score, game over. And that's when I think Peyton lost his mind on the sideline. But just back to my original question, do you guys see his movement as well as he had in the past?
No, and that's a good point. I think Russell Wilson kind of lost the ability to move around the pocket. He is older now. Again, I think Russell just got to get adjusted into the offense, just adjusted to Sean Payton and what Sean Payton is bringing to this offense. So that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. But other than that, there's really no excuse for that because you still got to be able to make that play. So
yeah, I think the telling sign for him is when he rolls to the left, he's running. When he goes to the right, he's throwing. And he did that a lot in the Jets game. And, that's his pattern right now. He's not comfortable like he used to. He could roll out to the left and still plant a foot and throw or take off. And, he's obviously being right-handed. It's a huge, advantage when you're rolling to the opposite side, to the right-hand side of the field. But, I've noticed that quite a bit. And he's not as aggressive. I think he's afraid to make mistakes. I think he doesn't see open receivers. It's a combination. I mean, he's putting up good numbers, but a lot of those numbers came against the Bears, who had that second half collapse. And I think that has a lot to do with it too. But listen, he has a lot to play for. Sean Payton has a lot to play for. They're going to play with pride. They're not going to care about the 15, 16 game winning streak, whatever it is. Nobody seems to care about that anyway, including the Chiefs. The fans love it because it's just pure dominance. But at the end of the day, this is their Super Bowl. This is their chance to make their season go in a different direction. I don't know if they have enough time to really prep for the Chiefs, but I think the familiarity between the two teams doesn't always give the advantage to the better team. Sometimes the lesser team, can see some stuff from a different view. And listen, I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I don't think it's going to be relatively close, but it's going to be a game for a period of time.
Yeah, maybe they lean on Van Joseph's familiarity with the Chiefs, but it's an entirely new coaching staff. So to Nick's point, yeah, in a short week, you tried, and from the Chiefs' perspective, they just lean on all their experience playing in the division, same coaching staff. We have an idea who these guys are, what the Chiefs are expected to do, what the players want to do in a short week. So again, I think Van Joseph might be the key here, but his defense is just they're just not doing it. I mean,
seriously, that's shocking.
This is a problem because that was the strength of their team. You look at their depth chart and you look at the guys playing. I mean, they spent a lot of money on DJ Jones and Zach Allen. They've been Nick Bonito has been a great from Oklahoma, I believe. In his second year has been kind of a revelation. I think that was kind of the reason they were able to get rid of Randy Gregory. Say, hey, we got this young guy. Let's get out of this contract if we can. And okay, you're out. But Surtain is still Surtain. right?
Mm-hmm.
But, the linebackers that you thought were going to be good, Josie Jewell, I think he picked Patrick off a couple of times, Singleton. They've got players. It's just baffling. So is it the coaching? Is it the culture? It's a really weird situation that they got that bad that fast. And it's hard to really understand. Even watching the games, 2, 3, 4, 5 games in, you just still can't figure it out.
Right.
Well, it's like this real quick.
And speaking of figuring it out, man, the Chiefs defense look like they figuring it out by the numbers. You know what I mean? By the numbers, Nick, they out here putting it up. They didn't shut down St. Brown. They shut down Randy, the guy from the Jaguars.
Really?
DJ Moore.
Calvin Ridley.
The numbers,
the list of number one receivers that have been locked up.
So the guys, what you think about this defense so far going into week 6, Nick?
I continue to say this, and I'm really good at beating a dead horse, but it's a surprise to me. You look at these numbers, and even without my glasses, they're impressive. And you look at what they've been able to accomplish, and is what they're keeping opponents scored over 20 points. They're at a 16, 18 point average. They've given up the third or fourth fewest points. And I'm sitting there going, there's no Derek Thomas out there. There's no Neil Smith, no Dan Saleamua. There's no dominant. There's just no, Bill Amos or an Albert Lewis or a Bobby Bell, Willie Lanier out there. But they're being Spags and his staff are coaching these guys up. They bought into the system. You've got some veterans and you've got some youth, despite this is the youngest defense in the NFL. But it's their attitude. They're upset when they don't make a play. They're confident that they will make a play. They understand what's at stake here. For a lot of these guys who've been with Patrick Mahomes since he became a starter, and there's not a lot of guys, and the guys that have come in who got 2 or 3 or 4 seasons under their belts, Patrick Mahomes has sacrificed himself to carry this football team. And so while the offense takes another adjustment after taking one last year, with the absence of Tyreek Hill, and they just happened to win the Super Bowl. And so while they develop these receivers, they get Travis Kelce reps, they work on a new offensive line at the tackles. The defense is out there saying, hey, no problem, we got this. We'll hold teams to 20 points or less. Just go score 23 points or more, and we're going to win every game that we play. And again, this is refreshing. This is becoming a complete team. This is becoming the kind of teams that the Patriots were. They had a great defense. They had a great offense. Mm-hmm. They had great special teams. They had great coaching. They put it all together, all 3 phases working at the same time. And in my time covering the Chiefs, to find a team that has all 3 phases cooking at the same time, I got to go back to the Hank Stram era. It wasn't during Marty. It wasn't during Herm. It wasn't during Vermeil because the defense was just horrific and cost them, I think, a Super Bowl. And this is just, if you're a Chiefs fan, enjoy this. And if we win a Super Bowl this year, it's going to be more because of the defense. And kudos to Spags and his staff. They are balling right now.
I'm gonna tell you what it is. I think it's Snead. It's Snead. If we look
He's a tone setter. Yep.
Yeah, if you look at the matchups on the number one, Snead sets the tone. Anybody they play, if they playing anybody, man to man, you got your number one receiver. Snead going to impose his will. If Snead doesn't play, this defense doesn't rock. If y'all knows like the number one receivers, there's nobody on that team that can cover like Snead can. He's physical at the line. He can get pressure. He's an all-around cornerback. Something we didn't see from Marcus Peters. Something we're not seeing from Williams. And if you look at Watson conducts himself very well. He's a good tackler, right? But if you're really looking at, and I'm not knocking McDuffie. McDuffie is good in the slot. He's decent, right? T-Cuffs, right?
He's better than decent, but go ahead.
But I'm saying what it is. Snead is breaking down these number ones. I love DBs. And Snead to me is probably my top 5 DB right now. Because you never seen this type of physicality. When he comes on the line, he's imposing his will early. He's in your face.
Yep.
Like these guys are intimidated. Like I never seen Robert Series be this intimidated. When Snead in your face, he's in your grill.
Yeah, he showed that against Minnesota, against Justin Jefferson, and again, it was very impressive to see. And you throw in T Cuffs. I mean, come on, with the two of them together, it wasn't. I guess it wasn't only Snead on Jefferson all day, so there was a little, back and forth. And I guess I have to give a little bit of a shameless plug here that my MVP
of the
week. For week 5, we do another show. Sorry, Nick. I do another show called Pros Like Us, and you can get that wherever your podcasts are you get. But they were my MVPs of the week. Even with DJ Moore's week, even with Jamar Chase and all the guys that put up all these numbers. And I was accused of being a homer by the other guy on the show, but it was just impressive for the number 1 receiver to go 3 receptions, 26 yards. You tell me that was not the key to the game, but in terms of the overall defense, and I know I've mentioned this before as well, but the job that Joe Cullen has done with that defensive line can't be understated. I mean, I think Nick mentioned like Dan Saliamua, Moss, these big time. Now we lose half our audience here because Nick and I are really old, and that's going back a ways. But these were are we kind of shortchanging Noddy, Turk Warden, guys that are playing inside and making those plays? So, it is refreshing, Nick, because this is kind of scary for the rest of the league, because once this offense gets cranking, and it will, if the defense can play like this, come on. What are we talking about here?
It's pretty scary. And, Charles Omenihu, this is the last game he has to sit out with his suspension. He should be back in the building on Monday. He should be ready to go, Sunday against the Chargers in the late game. And, again, Joe Cullen he's a miracle worker. I mean, look at Mike Dana. Now, this is a guy, sign him. You need to sign him to an extension. It probably won't cost all that much, but he gets it. He understands it. And he's making really big plays, at crucial times. And, Noddy is the same thing. He's in a contract here. He's been really impressive. I thought he was the weak link. Wharton has played well. I mean, Karlaftis has had spurts. I still think he's got a long way to go on that defensive line. He's got to finish. He's got to learn how to finish, and that was something that I know he's been working with Tamba Hali, but Tamba Hali had a hard time finishing in the first couple of years of his career, and then he just poured it on. So I think defensively we should enjoy this. I don't think they're going to get worse. I think when they start playing better talent, the Chargers are going to have a good offense. Then they go to Dolphins, and then they have to face the Eagles and after the bye week. We're going to know a lot about this defense, but beginning Sunday or week from Sunday, that'll be the first game that all these guys are back.
I'm gonna tell you a matchup I would love to see. I would love to see, because I think we do play the Eagles this year.
After the bye week on
AJ Brown versus Snead.
That's gonna be fun.
These two physical, they both physical. Because I say this because if y'all know me, I love DBs. I love one-on-ones. And I didn't think Snead was that guy. Again, I didn't think he was that guy until I started watching tape. Yeah. Until I started watching tape, and I was like, this man is physical. The physicality he brings to this team, to this team is like, sign this man. Like, first I was like, okay, sign Chris Joe. No, sign Snead. Snead needs to be signed, because y'all not gonna find nobody with the caliber skill set as Snead. This is in general, because he's opposed to his world early. He's the enforcer on his team.
Right.
So I was like, wow, I'm sitting here like Justin Jefferson, 2 for 28. Ridley, St. Brown, he keeping these guys, they're not getting over 50 yards. Now, Craig McDuffie plays his part, T-Cuff, you would say, plays his part. But we got to give credit where credit's due. Is Snead. Snead has mentally draining these guys. Like, they don't want to smoke with Snead.
And he could play any one of the back end positions. He could certainly.
Absolutely.
I mean, if they need him to play safety, he can play
Yeah, he
safety.
could.
He plays in the slot. He plays outside. He's their best blitzer off the edge.
Right.
So
probably the best blitzer. Probably the best blitzer coming off the edge as a DB.
Probably
let's shout out to all the small schools out there, man. Like if you even know that you feel like you got to go to a big school to play. He ain't come from no big school. Came from a small school. You know what I mean? Small schools, and they let you know them talent is still out there, and it doesn't matter where you come from.
Sun Belt Conference, baby.
And speaking of talent, man, it's a lot of talent in the Broncos room, but it's a rumor going around the NFL that they about to be on complete teardown before the trade deadline. What you think about that, Lou?
Well, in Peyton's words, he said they're not actively looking to trade anyone, but we'll pick up the phone if people call, which is kind of
means everybody's available.
Right. So yeah, I don't think there's anybody maybe Benito, because he's just in his second year and he's shown. So maybe some of the younger players, but I don't think there's any sacred cows there. Okay. Maybe Javonte Williams, but again, he's a running back. He's been injured, so Jaleel McLaughlin has come in and done well. So, there's a litany of running backs that you can keep out there, but there's no question, especially they keep losing. And even if they weren't, Peyton wants to kind of churn that whole roster to get to the guys that he wants. He brought in his old kicker. He brought in one of his tight ends, Troutman. Will Lutz, the kicker. And it's just going to continue.
And that's the problem, though.
It could be, we'll see. The proof is in the pudding. We'll see. With his style, again, I don't think he's forgotten how to coach. He's still one of the best offensive minds in the league. It's just a matter. He may go in a different direction with his defensive coordinator if this continues.
And that's not, here's the problem. He's got too many buddies on the staff. He wasn't great in New Orleans. He was consistent because he had an amazing quarterback in Drew Brees.
What's your beef with Sean Payton?
Well, you know what? First of all, I don't like the whole. He got suspended for a year. And that's to me that's a problem, because that's something that is part of you, part of your style. Now I'm all for forgiveness and giving people second chances, but
I think
the problem is you're
that was Greg Williams going rogue, Nick. The bounties.
Yeah, the
bounties. The head coach is responsible for everything.
It happened under his watch. Absolutely, it was deserved.
No, I don't care. And again, listen, you and I have been around long enough. We have seen cheating. We have seen steel plates inserted in casts in arm braces and stuff like that. We're old school.
Those are supports. Those are to support the bone.
When you collectively push to hurt another player,
right? True.
By throwing a bounty gate out there, whether Williams went rogue or not, it's irrelevant. His head coach knew about it.
Yeah.
He did nothing to stop it, and so he sits out. Once Breeze is gone, he's like, I don't want to coach this team. I'm not going to win anything here. He gets a bunch of money from Fox. He gets a boatload of cash to come to Denver when no one else was going to hire him. And he got a lot of money. He brings in his buddies. He brings in some of his former players, all acceptable. Andy Reid did the same thing when he came to Kansas City from Philadelphia. He brought some of his assistants with him. He brought some of his players with him. He did it. But the difference being is, that picture right there tells you everything you need to know about the relationship those two have. And that's the problem. If he went to Denver just for the money and he can't decide to jettison Wilson at the end of this year and find a young quarterback to try and develop and salvage his career as a head coach, Denver's going to continue to struggle. The problem in Denver right now is there's a power struggle. And the new ownership has to decide. They're going to obviously back Sean Payton. George Patton, the GM, he's out. He's gone. It's only a matter of time. So who's going to orchestrate the fire sale? If he gets his way, if Payton gets his way, he's going to tell them, okay, trade this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. If not, then it's going to push them back even further because, like I said last week on the show, and I'll end my rant with this, do not build a team that is designed to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. You build a team that's troublesome for the Chiefs to beat you. So until Denver, San Diego, Los Angeles, Las Vegas decide we're the new superpower, we're going to build that team. You got to beat us mentality. Chiefs are going to own this division for the next decade.
That's a good point, Nick. Yeah. That's a good point, Nick. I'll go ahead, Bo.
I put it like this, man. They ain't got no many first round picks, correct? If I'm wrong, all right? Because they gave them most of them up.
Yeah, they're a little bit better situation next year.
Yeah, a little better situation next year. But so they could get a quarterback this year, and Sean Payton, it ain't looking good for the Denver Broncos. Now they got a lot of talented wide receivers out there, and Russ, they got a lot of. They ain't got no trashy wide receivers. You know what I mean? Because them boys are not really trash. He's just. I don't think Russ is that guy. I don't think he lost it in Seattle, and he ain't been the same since he left Seattle. Pete Carroll let him go. Didn't want him no more. And I feel like Sean Payton is, I know I heard your rant about Sean Payton, but I feel like Sean Payton is getting his butt about it. Like we gave up all this stuff for you, and you are here fumbling the ball when we need you to just go down there and get us in field goal range, to win a game or whatever, and you fumble the ball and you're not having complete ball control there. I feel like Russell needs this. He been like all the stories is coming out of Seattle that he had his own separate room from all the other teammates, not bonding with the teammates. And I feel like he finally got a coach that's in his butt, to tell him what it really is. What you about to say, Coach Dre? What you about to say?
That's a good point. I'm gonna say this. If y'all look at both sides, Sean Payton is gonna come in and pull a Deion Sanders, right? It's gonna slowly but surely build his own squad like he had with the Saints. Now, credit the fact we didn't know how good Drew Brees was until he got to Sean Payton. Because remember, he was over there playing that Marty style ball.
He was pretty good with Marty.
He was okay, but he wasn't like you didn't see Drew Brees' true potential until he went to New Orleans with Sean Payton. Right?
I'll respectfully disagree, but go ahead. I think because of that potential. And because of what he showed, that's why he ended up New Orleans.
And they drafted Phillip Rivers. So.
Yeah, right. Again, though, but what I'm saying is when he's spreading the ball around, nobody's seen this coming out of Drew Brees, period. In New Orleans, nobody's seen it coming. Right. So Sean Payton is doing this with Russell, and I agree with what Bowtie had just stated. The thing with Russell is this: Russell is a diva. Russell Wilson is a diva. He can't do no wrong in Seattle. He couldn't do no wrong in Seattle. He was a golden boy. They wanted everything to be about Russell.
To the fans.
If you look at that play in the goal line play, Marshawn Lynch runs that ball. They win, right? No, they want to get the ball to the golden boy, Russell Wilson. And what happened? It bit them in the butt. So the thing is, Pete Carroll catered to Russell Wilson, right? Sean Payton is not. Sean Payton is getting in your grill. It's like, we're not having that. Like, Denver on paper, they look good. On paper, they got every talent. They got good personnel. They look good. But at the same time, it's the coaching. And also it's the quarterback because Jerry Jeudy getting frustrated. Sutton's getting frustrated, right? It's Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's in his own head. He's in a way. So, in my opinion, I think by the end of this year, Russell's out of here. They're going to start the rookie. The rookie going to come in and take over because
a lot of money.
He's not a good fit for what Sean Payton's trying to do. He just doesn't fit his scheme right now.
No, I agree.
I think who would be a really good fit? I mean, just the way he's playing right now is Shedeur Sanders.
Oh, yes, definitely agree. Definitely.
He can stay close to dad. I'm sure Dion
in Colorado.
Dion and
good point.
Sean have a relationship. They're Parcells. I think that he's old school. The whole thing. I think it would be like a match made in heaven. But as far as the question goes, are they open for business? Absolutely. And it's just really a matter of some of these other GMs. The GMs in the NFL, it used to be where everybody was afraid to trade, but as you've seen every GM be a little bit younger, they kind of take on the NBA mold a little bit more. And you see every year as we get closer to the trade deadline, there's a lot more deals guys are willing to make bold moves.
Yep.
And I can see several coming from there and other spots too.
Right. And speaking of getting further in the year and making bold moves, right now, if the playoff picture started today, guys, you know who's sitting at that number 1 seed. You know who's sitting at the top. Go ahead, Lou. Go ahead and lead us off. What you think about this? What you think about this picture right now and going into this, and you seeing the Chiefs are still at the top of the playoff?
That's the way it should be, right? I mean, come on. This is what we're used to. Now I got to go to Nick's move and put my glasses on here so I can see what the hell that is. Okay. Well, the bottom line is this. I mean, we don't know what the Bengals are going to be. I mean, it's awfully early to be looking at playoff picture, but to your point, yeah, I mean, the Chiefs are working through this, and they're not playing this, that, all these problems. We're the number 1 seed in the AFC, okay? Yeah. So does every other team working through their stuff. So I think going into the year, everybody thought the AFC was going to be like, head and shoulders above everything else. And all of a sudden now you've got San Francisco, Philadelphia, and Detroit in the NFC, and they're all looking pretty damn good. But they don't crown anybody at this time of the year. How are you playing? Are these teams peaking too soon? Can San Francisco actually get better? There's only one way for them.
You talking about Joe Montana? You talking about Joe Montana, Purdy
to go down a bit? I did, and
Purdy,
and I'll stick by that. But yeah, I mean, it's going to change. A lot of those teams. I mean, a lot of moving parts, if you would. Jacksonville, I think, is kind of catching their stride. The Steelers, I'm not sold on. I thought they were going to be good, but that
defense was awful good on Sunday. And of course,
absolutely.
They played against some below average quarterbacks.
So. But my God, all those drops and interception. But the point is, I guess going is. Chiefs are where they normally are, and they're still not what they're going to be. So let's go.
Well, go ahead, Dre. Go ahead.
Well, real quick. Me and Bolts, I had a dispute about how good Purdy is, and we was like, and we said who's better right now, Purdy or Patrick Mahomes. And through the stats, we got to go with Purdy. I think this Purdy San Francisco Niners. 49 is going to be the real deal.
Let's not go correct.
Come on,
go off the rails here.
We're not going to do
I like
even when
so. Okay.
No,
another show.
Let's do this.
Okay.
Their schedule's been relatively easy. Let's be
honest. I said that.
The Cowboys.
We would not say easy, sir.
The Cowboys are a bad football team with a bad quarterback, and an owner who's in a world thinking that he has the second coming of Joe Montana in his huddle, and Dak Prescott's never going to lead that team to the Super Bowl.
Never.
And Lamar Jackson's never going to lead the Ravens to a Super Bowl.
I agree.
There's a whole bunch of reasons as to why that's taking place. But I will say this about Brock Purdy: he reminds me, he has that Tom Brady feel to me. He has the command in the pocket. He has the arm. He makes good decisions. He wasn't highly regarded coming out of college.
Come on, Nick, preach.
He was thrown into a system.
That's more Joe Montana with Bill Walsh.
But let me finish.
No.
But let me finish. Let me finish. But
at the beginning of their career, Dre, don't get carried away.
Montana, it took a little bit of time.
Well, sure.
Hold on. It took him a little bit of time to really gain that respect, to get on pace with Rice, to have that, amazing offense. And, with Purdy, it's just like from play one, I think it was against the Miami Dolphins. No, he came in halftime of the game before. He's just been lights out. He hasn't had a bad game. No. He plays to a level that no kid with that lack of experience should play. And is he a top 5 quarterback? Absolutely. He's got a huge brain IQ.
What?
And the way he's playing, I'm saying the way he's playing right now, I would put him in the top 5. Yeah. But I'm not going to anoint him as the second coming of either Brady or Montana at this point until he plays tougher opponents consistently.
Yes.
But that defense is so good, and the offensive personnel they have, and finally Shanahan has completely just built the offense with the right quarterback.
Mhm.
We can see his genius, but what's going to happen when they get to the postseason? Who knows?
We'll see.
Hey,
To clarify my point, I'm not saying that he's the second coming of Joe Montana. I'm saying that I'm getting Montana vibes because of the way he fits what the offensive genius coach wants to do. Just like Montana was a third round pick coming out of Notre Dame. I mean, he wasn't that highly regarded, but Walsh said that was the perfect guy for my system.
Yep.
Throws on time, hit that fifth step, the ball's out. Hit the third step, the ball's out. Timing it up with the receivers. And just that comparison of it. In terms of where they go, no, you can't say that yet. But Montana was just a next level in his head. Everything about him was just great. Yeah. But at this stage of their career, similar stages, I see some of the same vibe.
Yeah, Clutch Purdy.
He's a system quarterback.
He's a very good system quarterback.
A great system quarterback.
A great system. Guess who? Garoppolo looked good over there too, right? Did he not take them to the Super Bowl? Did he not take them to the Super Bowl? He did.
He almost beat him. He did. He almost beat y'all.
Them all system quarterbacks.
Right, but you saw a playoff game where Shanahan ran the ball like 45 times and threw 8 passes with Jimmy G. He's not doing that with Purdy. Purdy just fits.
Talk to him, Lou.
Purdy fits that system like a glove,
like
and
he
hasn't done anything wrong, anything to convince me otherwise.
They better pay that kid.
You better pay him.
I'll put it like this. Speaking of systems, let's go ahead and get into Chiefs Who. Who do you have for us today, Lou?
Okay, this game is like sweeping the nation. Maybe just the Midwest. It might be
right now.
You're already putting disclaimers out there.
It might just be Nick's neighborhood that is sweeping and is loving this game. But you know what time it is. Come on, Hense, hit the music.
Let's get it going.
Let's go. All right. So this is a game we play. It's called Chiefs Who. I'll start throwing out some clues about a current Chiefs player. Yes, a current player, Dre. Without further ado, you guys get to guess. And our friends at home, what are they playing for? Because gambling is encouraged, but we're throwing something away. We're giving something away, right?
If there's somebody online that we can see post the answer before we do, I am going to give them a Len Dawson item from my personal collection.
Listen to that. Come on, Chiefs Kingdom. Let's go. All right. So
if I get it right, did I get the prize?
No.
No. All right. So coming out in the draft.
I'll give you one anyway. Go ahead.
Coming out in the draft, and they may still say it, that said he was undersized for his position.
Mike Dana.
It's a winner.
Dang. That's selfish, Nick. That's selfish, Nick. You get to keep your stuff, man. That's selfish.
All right. Give us one. You gotta give us one more. That was two.
That was it. I mean, I don't have a backup. That's it. The game's over. He won.
Man, that was a walk away.
All right, I'll give you the other clues and see if I don't know. The other clues were
Nick.
The other clues were he's a Motown kind of guy. He's from Detroit. He's playing for the bag this season. Loves getting friendly with quarterbacks. Living on the edge. And then prior to his senior year, he moved into a big house for his senior year. He transferred to Michigan. They play in the big house. Yeah.
Yeah, he got that. He got that right off the bat.
That was too easy. That was too easy, man.
Oh, come on. He's undersized. It could have been anybody.
Man, Nick aced it.
Give credit where credit is due.
He said, I'm not giving up my Len Dawson collection.
He said,
I do not want to give away that Len Dawson, whatever.
Gots to earn it.
So before we close out, Nick, let go, Dre. Go ahead and give everybody a shout out in the comments.
Oh, most definitely, guys. I want to give a shout out to, of course, Kareem. He's always been a standout in the comments. Always
Number one
been
fan.
number
I
one.
appreciate you, Kareem, big time.
Absolutely. Vincent DiCarlo. Did I say his name right?
DiCarlo, whose mother has the best salsa, and we are going to be giving away some bottles of the DiCarlo salsa brand on future shows. So Vince, I will pick those up from you this weekend.
Keep quiet during the segment so somebody else can win.
We will give the winner.
I gotta try.
We'll give the winner next week.
All right. Shout out to Brian.
We'll give the winner next week a bottle of DiCarlo sauce.
I'm with that.
Courtesy of Vince and his mom.
That's right. Shout out to Brian Frazier. Again, another great guy. I love your comment. Keep them coming. But again, we all know that Purdy is Joe Montana. Okay. All right.
Stop it.
Before
we close out, Nick, go ahead and hit him with the breaking news that we have.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my glasses back on. I want to announce Dave Purdy with Supreme Lending, mortgage guy. He's going to be coming on board. He's going to be our sponsor for not only the podcast, but for the websites as well, that at Chiefs Blitz and also our other website, Primetime Sports Talk. So we're excited to have Dave on. I've known him a really long time. He's a good man. He's a good person. And if you need a loan, office number is 913-225-7304. Again, 913-225-7304. Hey, just get a mortgage checkup. Just go in and say, hey, I want to see if I can qualify. I want to see kind of where I'm at. What do I got to do? He's going to be very patient. They have a huge portfolio of loan opportunities available for all sorts of people, whether you're employed, self-employed, whatever it might be. He's the guy to make it happen. And we're so excited that Dave came on board. So, Dave, thank you. Big shout out. Everybody give him a round of applause.
Way to go, Dave. All right.
We'll announce our next sponsor. We got another sponsor coming on board, too. We'll announce that next week. And we're excited about that opportunity. So, for me, hey, it's a Broncos week. I'm heading to the game. I'm really excited about going. It's going to be fun. Do a little tailgating, run into some old friends, and just have a really good time, old school. The guys will be back on Friday. Without me, I've got a family thing going on Friday, so I will be unavailable. So I think Lou, Hense, and Andre can keep the show rolling without me. If I can chime in for a few minutes, I'll call in. But other than that, the floor will be yours and the time will be yours to talk about Brock Purdy and whatever else you guys want to talk about.
I see what you
the
did
greatest
there,
quarterback of this era is Brock Purdy.
What you did there. Time's ours.
Before we close out, we didn't give our score predictions for tomorrow's game.
Oh yeah, okay.
What is the score prediction? Go ahead, Nick.
All right, I got Chiefs 34. I've got the Denver Broncos with 19.
Lou?
I'm sticking with Chiefs 20. We're sticking at 27 for the Chiefs. I was pretty close last game. I'll say 27-16.
Joy?
I'm gonna say a close 17-7. Depends on if Kelsey play or not.
Again, I'm going a straight massacre, 38-10.
Ouch.
Russell Wilson get benched. He get benched. He's getting
that would
benched.
be big. That would be big.
So
I don't know about that. I don't know.
That'll change the Broncos narrative real fast if he's benched at halftime, if he throws a couple of early picks.
Jared Stidham, let's go.
Hey, I like it. They gave Stidham a pretty good contract.
They did.
I said, midway through the season,
no accident.
He'd be the starting quarterback, so we'll see what happens. But anyway, guys, again, thank you, everybody. Please like our show. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at Chiefs Blitz, on Twitter at Chiefs Blitz, Facebook at Chiefs Blitz, ChiefsBlitz.com for the website. We're having a lot of fun doing this. This is bringing back a lot of memories for me, and it's great to have the three of you, because I think we have a good time together, which is the most fun and the most important thing. We get to talk about the Chiefs, and who knows, maybe we'll be in the Kelsey stratosphere at some point with our show. We can always root to be the best. And again, we want to thank everybody. The guys will see you Friday. I'll be back on Monday, and just check out the website in between and our social media and get the latest Chiefs news. Anything breaks, we'll let you know. Peace out, everybody.
Out.